What is up, guys? It's your boy Paul here, coming at you with another video today. Look, today's been a great day so far. I'm gonna make you guys, I know today was the day you guys were expecting the training, and I did put a lot of it together, but I'm gonna make you guys wait one more day. Anyways, what am I gonna talk about today? Well, today I started reading the book called The Power of Habit, okay? Let me just tell you. So this is like a 300-page book, something like that. Here, let me get it real quick. Have it right here. Power of Habit. Okay. I got to page 60 today. Just read it for about an hour. So I'm on chapter 3 of it. But let me just tell you something that was kind of mind-blowing that I found out and that I need to share with you guys. Absolutely. So it's talking about habits, right? Obviously, it's called The Power of Habit. Talking about much of what we do in a large part is already determined for us by our habits. Like, we think we're going around like choosing different things throughout the day to do, whereas more often than not, most likely it's going to be your habits that are choosing for you. And like the what it was talking about in the book, and like the reason for this is because your brain most of the time likes to take the easy way out. It likes to not work. You know how like you like to be lazy? Well, so does your brain. Go figure on where you get it from now, right? So that's the thing, that our brain will oftentimes try to form habits for every single area of our life. That way, whenever we come across that same thing in the future, we don't have to think again, okay? And so I was like, wow. And so like I started looking at my life and I was like, what do I think I choose day to day? For example, like when I'm reading, I'm choosing like a different book, but like times a day that I read, do I read like when I'm stressed out, or do I stick to the schedule? You know, all of that stuff, like, because I have a whole surplus of books behind me, which is, crazy. But I was just like, oh wow, even my patterns of reading, those are just habits. Like, I don't even, like, more often than not, I'll stick to the schedule. But like whenever I have like certain triggers, like stress or something like that, sometimes I just go to reading, and I was like, oh wow. So it was like really insightful for me to see, even in my own life. And then I was thinking about breakfast, no breakfast. What do I normally eat for breakfast? Why is it that I normally do that? Routine in the morning, brushing your teeth, how you do yourself in the shower, like washing your hair, washing your body, all that stuff. What is your normal process for like when you go work out? What is your normal process for right when you get in the office? What is your normal process for right when, you meet someone, you go over through a set of questions? So much of this stuff our brain just automates. And I was like, dang, our brain takes the lazy way out. So here's what it was talking about. The author was saying that, okay, our habits pretty much run us, but they don't have absolute authority over us, meaning we can change our habits anytime we want. We just got to have the right triggers, the right cues, and the right rewards, right? And so I was like, okay, well, that's kind of good news, because we do need to be able to change our habits. That would be good, especially if we don't have good habits. And so what it was talking about was the first part of it, creating the proper reward, right? And so as I was reading, I was like, okay, good. I've already talked about this. Like, I've talked about this in previous videos before. I've done this for myself. I've made my goals, made my rewards, talked about that. Although I did learn something. I don't have daily rewards yet, which that might be something that I need to work in there. So let me know like in the comments below. Do you guys have daily rewards for things that you guys do? Or is it only like after you achieve some big goal that you guys get a reward? Because that's where I saw myself lacking. I was like, okay, I know I have my 90-day like goal rewards that I'm going to give myself if I hit the goals, but I don't know if I have daily rewards. So it would make sense on why you may feel tired on certain days and not like energized enough if you don't have the right reward in place. So keep that part in mind. But then it got to talking about Febreze. And why do I even bring this up here? Well, let me tell you. So I think it was Procter & Gamble came out with Febreze, and they had the hardest time selling it. They came out with this amazing formula for this liquid spray that can eliminate odors and all that good stuff, but no one was using it. And so they tried to follow the thing, the formula of, okay, create a desire for it. Then people will use it. It's going to be the trigger. People will start using it. But they couldn't figure out how to sell this spray when it came to cleaning and all this other stuff, right? And so eventually what they started watching this, they started watching people when they started cleaning their rooms and everything like that. And I was like, okay, interesting. I wonder where this is going to go. So whenever people would clean their rooms or clean their houses or do the dishes, almost always they followed that up with a relaxing type of exercise. And I was like, okay, so how are they going to take this? So what they did was they were like, okay, this is what we know. We know that whenever people do these things, their reward tends to be a satisfaction of relaxing in some way, shape, or form. Okay? And so they're like, okay, let's try and now associate our product with that. We no longer want the trigger to be, bad smells and all that stuff, because let's be real, even though we don't want to. Most of us get used to, like, either if it's our own bad smell, or if it's our dogs, or if it's our cats, or if it's our house, most of us get used to our own bad smell, which is why it wasn't working for Procter & Gamble to be able to sell this stuff. And don't worry, I'm coming back to this on where this will go. So they then made it to where the cue and the reward was Febreze became part of the relaxing feeling that they had at the end. And eventually people started associating it with being clean equals the smell of Febreze. So if I clean everything, but yet I'm lacking the scent of Febreze, I don't know if everything's truly clean. And boom, just started taking off, and now does over $1 billion a year, or at least that's what the book said. Haven't done my own outside research, so if I misquoted that, my apologies. Anyways, everything relates to the cue, the routine, and then the reward, and this is what they said. Game changer. Game changer. This is what they said. That system is not enough. So everything of what I've thought I've been doing, this is why I started reading it like really fast, hasn't been enough. Cue, routine, reward, not enough for you. It said it only is enough, and it only starts working effectively when there becomes a craving after the cue. So when they started doing the studies on rats and all this stuff, they were doing rats with like grape juice, and they would see a sign on the screen, push a lever, get some grape juice, get some raspberry juice, whatever juice it was. And so they followed the signs, they followed the what was going on in the brain. And so crazy part is, the second the rat got addicted, or not addicted, but like intensely desired it, aka a craving, they noticed the change in the pattern of the brain, which was the second the image showed up on the screen, boom, craving. So no longer was like, oh, that means I got to click this, which means I get this. They said they started getting the dopamine release. They started getting the sensation of having already had the juice after they saw the image. So they had gone through the pattern numerous times to where it became cue, routine, reward, enough times to where the second they saw the cue, boom, craving. And their brain already associated the cue with having the reward. And so it made this insane craving among these rats, right? And if you're following me, you're getting why this is so exciting. And if not, you're probably tripping out on why I'm so excited right now. But it's because of this. Well, let me backtrack for a second too. Whenever they got the craving, they did all the stuff, and then they either delayed or didn't get the juice, they became infuriated. The rats were like, sketching out and just got mad and just had all these brain waves showing like anger, frustration, all this stuff. And, if they were human, would probably express it in a lot of different ways. And I was like, oh my goodness. I looked at my own life and I was like, how many times when I do that, I expect that, and if I don't get it, do I react, wrongly? Do I get frustrated? Even if I withhold it on the outside, internally I'm like, frustrated, whatever the case may be. You start to see some very, very, very powerful stuff of what's going on inside your own head, because all you did was triggered the craving. And this is what happens when habits become so ingrained in us, is that you no longer just have the cue to follow the routine, to get the reward. Now the cue triggers the craving and acts as if you already have the reward. This is insane. So why is this insane? Because now you got to start seeing this for yourself. Whatever new habits you're trying to create, it's got to, follow the pattern, cue, routine, reward. So you got to have the reward, but that reward has to be so intense and so good that the more you have it, the boom, 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 the second you see the cue, boom, dopamine, adrenaline, all that rush, because you start to get the craving for what the reward is. And that's what allows you to start pushing through the hard stuff. And you know what? This all made sense because I forget the girl's name, but I think her name was like Lucy something. She just completed the Ironman, and I don't know whether she finished second or first. I forget what it was, but I was kind of following along with it. And this girl ended up getting passed up sometime during the race. And so they ended up asking her at the end of the race, hey, Lucy, what gave you the energy to come back from as far back as you were behind? And granted, she was still in like second or third, so she's still at the head of the pack. But in relation to this one gal who passed her, what made you, get the energy to be able to pass her again and all that stuff? Her answer was crazy. This is a woman who does many, many Ironmans. She's won many, many of them. She said, well, and I forget whether it was her kids or whoever it was that gave her the options, but they said, hey, if you get first, we get 2 dogs. If you get second, we get 1 dog. If you get third, we get no dogs. Boom. Everything made sense. So what does that mean? She had the reward in place, and as she's going through it, as she's going through the pain, as she's going through the stuff, her desire was so tremendous, boom, she went right back to her training grounds, all that stuff. She dug in and made it happen because the reward was so great, and she had such a desire to get that reward that if she didn't have that, she most likely wouldn't have been able to push through the stuff. Like, I hope you guys are seeing why this is so important, because this just goes to show, if you give yourself the right incentive, if you know yourself enough and you give yourself the right incentive, not only can you push through the hard stuff during the day, which is super important, but if you do this enough and create the habit, you will create a system to developing a craving to get you through the hard times every single time and not sell yourself short. This is one of the biggest problems that we face, is selling ourselves short. There are so many of us, including the highest performers, who underachieve. And not underachieve in terms of society, but underachieve in terms of their potential. Because let's be real, the biggest problem isn't underachieving in terms of society, because there are so many different levels there that it doesn't matter. I care about fulfilling my potential, and that's what people should care about. And so we underachieve so often in terms of our own potential. And so what all this is showing me thus far, and like I said, I'm only 60 pages in on this 300-page book, but automatically as I'm reading it, I started connecting it to more and more things. I was like, wow. So not only if we create the right cue, the right routine to give us the right reward, if we feed ourselves that process enough times and give ourselves the reward that we so desire after pushing through the hard thing, like whatever that hard thing may be for you, you can develop resilience. You can develop any of this stuff that you see all these people that you admire so much having, you can have, because we are habitual creatures. We are people who enjoy not thinking. We enjoy not working. But if the reward is great enough, our brain doesn't even care about the work, because it goes, I will get through anything to have that reward. And you reaffirm that enough times in your own brain, in your own body, in your own psyche, the second you start seeing, boom, 7 o'clock, boom, 9 o'clock to do whatever thing you need to do, that's your cue, that's your trigger. Well, you start automatically associating, boom, 9 o'clock, ooh, I'm excited. I know I got a lot of crap to do today. I know I got a lot of work. I know I got a lot of hard stuff. I know I got a lot of people to talk to. I know I got a lot of probably hard things to do today. Oh, but I'm looking forward to X, whatever that X may be for you, whatever that reward may be for you. All right? So look, that's today's video, guys. If that helped at all, if that gave you a new perspective at all, if you're tracking with me on why this is so powerful and why this is so exciting, let me know down in the comments below. Definitely want to hear y'all's thoughts on it. Definitely want to hear y'all's takes on it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you know someone who could use this video, feel free to share it with them as well. And as always, stay tuned for the next one. Oh, and be looking out for the training video tomorrow.